Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and yeah, there isn't another one. Welcome to Horror Hobby Nation podcast. Today, this morning, we have Anthony and Mandy. I've got to get this right. Caimano.
Yep. Caimano. Yep.
There you go.
Yeah.
What is that? Is that like Italian or Mexican surname?
Yep. It's Italian.
Yep. There you go. So we have both Mandy and Anthony on. They are film producers, actors, and everything else that you can think of when it comes to the film industry. They are at this moment in time, I don't know, I have been looking this up at the moment, I don't know whether you've completed it yet, was Friday the 13th, uh, yeah, Blood Kill, wasn't it? Or Blood something, Blood.
Yep.
I did look it
Blood
up earlier.
Loss.
That's it, Blood Loss.
Yep.
My
So
bad.
we started filming that in October. We got a lot of it done, and then we go back in a couple months to finish up.
Yeah, I can't wait to see that.
Thank you.
I love Jason films. And obviously you've done the film The Killer Pizza. I've got to ask, who came up with that name?
Who came up? He's asking who came up with Killer Pizza name.
Oh, Killer Pizza. The idea was originated by my 11-year-old daughter. She came to me about a year ago, asked me to make a movie about a killer pizza. So I told her I would, and here we are. She's actually proud of the progress and everything. I wrote the story and everything to it, though. She just had the concept.
That's mad. When I saw the actual title, I was like, Killer Pizza. Who comes up with this stuff? Obviously, I'm a big horror fan myself. I'm into George Romero zombie stuff. I love it. I have seen a few of the Jason films. So, like I said, you've got, if I've got this right, you've got Christian Vesper playing Jason
Yeah.
in Friday the 13th. You have had Ari Lehman, haven't you? I believe.
Yeah, he's in the film. We filmed with him on October 30th, but he's not Jason in the movie. So Ari Lehman's the original Jason Voorhees from the very first Friday the 13th movie. So he's in it. He's just not Jason in the film.
So what happened to Jamie Lee Curtis? Did she just say, no, I'm too bloody old? Or...
Well, she is from Halloween.
Oh, yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking to another paranormal team about it last night, and we were going, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, no, that just failed. Right, so I've got to ask you guys. Obviously, you've done a lot of films. You've been on a lot of sets. My curiosity is, have you actually been on a set that's actually paranormally haunted as such?
Well, we had something going on with the Blood Loss film called we called it the Kruger Curse. So we filmed with Beatrice Bupley. She was Amanda Kruger in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. So she was Freddy's mom. Now in our movie, she's Pamela Voorhees, so she's Jason's mom. And when she showed up, we had a trailer that when she got there, all the power went out. And then when we got on set, a light fell over. And then she was by the fire pit. And she had her feet up on the fire pit, and her shoe melted. So she said it was cursed. And I think that's probably the closest we've gotten to that.
That's it. The Kruger Curse. I like that. Cool. So, what got you both into filming and producing your own films? Both of you.
What got you into filming?
I've actually been in theater and everything majority of my life. I started out young. My parents had me in acting classes and dancing and voice lessons and everything like that. Then I switched over to film after taking like a hiatus for a really long time, for years actually. It was 2020. Dr. Gould reached out to me to be a horror hostess on his show. So that's when I got introduced to the director of the Sawyer Massacre, and that's when I kind of decided that I really liked being in film and everything.
That's nice. Anthony?
So So she was a production coordinator on the Sawyer Massacre, and so that's kind of what got her uh, involved in the film stuff. And then me, I actually filmed some scenes for a director a long time ago. And it kind of didn't work out, and I got away from the movie stuff. And I was in some different bands and things, and I put out an EP in 2019, and a director contacted me through Facebook in 2020 during the pandemic and asked if he could use some of those songs in one of his movies. And that's kind of what slowly started, I started getting a little more involved and a little more involved. And then here we are. So.
Yeah. You did quite a lot of projects.
Yeah.
I really don't know what to ask you guys. I'm so stuck with all of it. It's for me, this is like a dream to actually talk to two producers from the horror scene itself. I mean, I've watched Horror Fest, I've watched so many horrors, and they're all the same in a way as such for me. But I've noticed, would you ever go down the like more of the zombie theme, or will you stick to obviously Jason, the Freddy theme, or are you open to exploring?
Well, she's a producer on a movie called Gone with the Dead that's coming out soon. The director of that one's Justin Smith, and it's zombie themed. So, yeah, I think we'd be open to different ideas. It's just not something that we have planned to make ourselves right now or to direct.
So apart from Killer Pizza and Friday the 13th Blood Loss, what other projects have you got going, I should say, because you guys have just got lots on. I mean, I tried to look at both your Facebook pages, and it's chaotic with so much going on.
So the main ones that we're working on is Friday the 13th Blood Loss, Killer Pizza. That we're directing those ones. I'm directing Blood Loss, and I'm the cinematographer, and we do effects together. She does all the makeup stuff. She's co-directing. And then on Killer Pizza, she's directing that one, and then I'm cinematographer and co-directing. So we kind of reversed roles. But those are like our main projects, and then we just help out a little bit here and there with some other films, just helping them raise funds or whatever they need. So the one is Gone with the Dead. She's a producer on that one. A Blood Moon Rising. We're both producers on that one. That one's from Justin Smith, the same director as Gone with the Dead. And then we're both executive producers on a movie called Earth versus Werewolves from Mars. That's from Troy Elke. And then we are co-producers on a film called Aversion. That's from Anthony Chila is producing that one. So, I mean, we just, and then in the one movie, she's doing a voiceover in one of the films. In Earth versus Werewolves from Mars, she'll be doing a voiceover in that. And then I have some music that'll be in some films coming up from another director, Jason Hawkins. He's the guy that contacted me in 2020. A couple of those films still haven't come out yet, so those will be coming out soon. One is The Bleeding Dark, and then the other one is Cross Hollow, and then he just made another one called Night Devours, which had a couple tracks that I made in that one too. So we just kind of do a little bit of everything, I think.
Do you actually have a life?
This
It sounds really. That's what I mean. There's so much going on. Do you actually have a life?
Well, we most of our time just goes to this, like raising funds to get our movies made,
Yeah.
helping other people raise funds for their movies. I mean, we do all the editing on the films too, so I'm always editing. We're making graphics together. She's making videos for promo stuff. We're looking at audition tapes and talking to actors and setting up meetings to talk with them. And it's just, I mean, we do this most of the time. And then when we're not doing something, we try to go to the movies or go to the zoo or something for a couple hours to give ourselves a break. And then it's right back to it. But even when we're doing that, I'm at the movies, I'm looking at my emails, or at the zoo, I'm checking my phone.
as bad as me. Have you two obviously been in any of your films at all? If so, I'm curious, how hard is it to play, if you have played, the part of a serial killer?
He's asking if we've been in any of our own films, and then how hard is it to play a serial killer? Well, we have because we fundraise for the movies, and we have a bunch of perks that we offer people that donate to the campaigns. So I was going to mention before, if you guys were interested, we have producer credits and all kinds of things that the viewers can sign up for, and they can get involved that way, and they can become producers tonight if they wanted to. But one of the perks that we had, and actually we still have for a short time, is you can be Jason in a scene. So you can actually come on set. We'll get you dressed up like Jason, and you can kill people in the movie. And we've had 3 people do it so far, and it was their first time killing anyone in a film, and we just help them, guide them, make sure everybody's comfortable, and there's a lot of blood at the end, but it all works out well.
Dan, book our flight. We're going in the next hour. For real. I have got to try that. Does that not sound wicked though? As an experiencer. That's what I mean. We don't have anything like that over here. Our films are very tame.
Yeah.
I think you guys know that. They are really tame. I mean, yeah, really tame. It's disappointing, to be honest. It's got that bad. I've started watching Korean stuff in Korean. Because they seem to have stepped up lately. In like you've got All of Us Are Dead. They did flipping heck, quite a few, and I've just got into it, and their graphics are proper full on. But I watch a lot of. I know it sounds weird, like I said, Horror Fest, the Horror Channel, and you see all the American films in that. There's usually slashers when you look at the American films, which seems to be a theme with you guys. I don't know why, but it's still, again, it is quite graphic. I've got to ask who your favourite producer is.
Do you have a favorite producer?
Horror producer, because obviously you're in that theme, aren't you?
Just anybody.
No.
I don't think so either.
Do you have anyone you'd look up to as a horror producer, if you know what I mean, like George Romero, for example?
Do we have anyone that we look up to as far as like, John Carpenter, George Romero, anyone like that?
Of course.
We like all of them. I think we, in a way, have to look up to all of them. Because they.
Especially like Quentin Tarantino and.
Oh yeah. Quentin Tarantino. Yeah.
Oh, what producer he is! Yeah. When he did the vampire one, I forgot what it's called.
Oh, From Dusk Till Dawn.
That's the one.
We have in Killer Pizza. We have Walter Phelan. He's famous for being Dr. Satan in House of a Thousand Corpses.
No, I was saying to Dan earlier about that.
But he was actually a vampire in From Dusk Till Dawn. So.
I said to Dan earlier, I was saying, can you imagine if these guys could do House of a Thousand Corpses, or maybe something like Free From Hell?
Yeah, he's Dr. Satan from House of a Thousand Corpses.
Oh, no way. Don't watch it. You think what you watched was messed up. That's nothing to those films. They are phenomenal films.
Yeah, he worked on Leprechaun 2. He worked on Thor. He worked on The Watchmen. He worked on Wishmaster, Witch Mountain movie. He was in the Goosebumps video game from the 90s. There was a live action computer game.
You've worked with some big people, haven't you?
He was in Charmed. Wasn't he in the X-Files too?
Yeah.
I think he was in the X-Files.
Do you know who I would like to work with? Who's the bald guy that was in Free From Hell?
He passed away. Yeah.
Yeah. What's he called?
Sid Haig.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just think that guy was. It's his mind. That's why I asked you whether you played your own actor and actresses in your own film as a serial killer, how do you get into that sort of like frame of mind? It
Well,
must be.
I guess I didn't answer the question before. I haven't done it, but I've directed the people, and so I've noticed that they want to be actors in the scenes, so they're worried about hurting each other. They're very careful and very cautious, even though it's Jason Voorhees. So sometimes you have to push them in, like, we're using something that's not going to hurt the actors, so don't be afraid to kind of get into it a little bit more. It's not going to hurt them. Let me worry about you hurting them. It's not going to hurt.
Yeah.
And so I think that the biggest thing that I've noticed is that people have a hard time getting into it because they're worried about hurting the person that they're supposedly killing on screen, and so they kind of take it too easy. It doesn't come off as being realistic. It doesn't translate as being a real brutal kill. It's so just having to coach them on that is the only thing that I could kind of compare it to.
That must be really hard to try and play as a part. Obviously, I do a lot of readings and research on serial killers. So I'm looking into the Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy characters at the moment. And obviously, we've got doctors from America coming on to talk to us about those specialist serial killers. I just wondered how hard it is. Because, I mean, you guys must go through so much training. I mean, you guys would have done it yourself before you became you're producing. How hard it is to do these things. I just couldn't do it. I was crap at drama.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think of myself as being big enough to be a Jason Voorhees, so I wasn't going to attempt that. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of these guys probably do a lot of research. Like I can't think of the actor's name. What is it? Peter Evans was just Jeffrey Dahmer in the Netflix series. He probably
he's amazing
on that. But yeah, he was great. Yeah.
So if you were given the chance, either of you, who would you like to work with? Anyone within the horror film. I mean, Quentin Tarantino, I think I'd like to have a shot with.
If given the chance, who would you like to work with? Like what actor?
Actress, anyone.
A famous person?
Yeah, or just anybody.
In a horror film, if you had the chance.
Or anybody from a horror film.
Yeah, like Sarah Michelle Gellar.
She's a
Did
big.
She just say Buffy?
Yeah, she's a huge Buffy fan. I can't think of who. God, who would I? There's probably someone that I'm just not thinking of.
Buffy. You had to turn to anybody, and you said Buffy.
It said you
okay, that's interesting.
Buffy.
Yeah.
Now that you said Buffy,
I love her.
Yeah.
Now that you said Buffy, what kind of horror?
You said now that you said Buffy, what kind of horror? Like what kind of horror movie would you make with?
Yeah,
Buffy?
what kind of genre, like slasher or?
What kind of horror genre? What do you want to make with Buffy?
I'd stick with a horror comedy.
Horror comedy?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of them, is there?
I don't think so, but some of them are good. The ones that are good are really good, and then the other.
Yeah, and then you got cheese. Like I've watched Night of the Living Depths, and I was a bit like.
I don't think I've seen it.
Have you not? It's a zombie one, believe it or not. It's got quite a few big actors in it, and when I saw it, I was a bit like, yeah, no, it's not working. Just not pulling it off for me.
That makes everybody more happy.
We just saw Destroy All Neighbors. Have you seen that one? It's a new one. It was pretty fun. It has Alex Winter in it. He's Bill from Bill and Ted. He was in The Lost Boys. He's in that movie with a bunch of other people that I didn't recognize, but it was fun.
I think my friend's seen it in America. He's on now. He's actually on chat. He's seen it.
Oh, okay.
I know his wife is massive on horrors, which is why she's watching you guys.
I can't see the comments right now, so if there's someone
Hang
else,
on, let me click it up. He hasn't really put anything. He's just put that. He said he's seen it. and I've asked whether it's definitely him. But I know his wife loves the paranormal, and they're into horrors a lot as well. And I mentioned about you two coming on, and like me, we're like drooling because we don't get to talk to any like horror producers or anything like that. You guys are actually the first we've had the chance to speak to. Usually it's just paranormal and doctors. But I believe your friends, I can't remember who it was, passed you on to us.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but he sent me links to you. He goes, speak to Anthony. You know, if you're interested in this, try this guy. I was like, all right. So
Awesome.
here we are.
Yeah, we so right now we're crowdfunding for Friday the 13th Blood Loss. You know, we got the chance to work with Ari Lehman on that, who's the original Jason Voorhees. So it was fun to get him involved with Friday the 13th again. And then Beatrice Bupley, who was Amanda Kruger in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, Pamela Voorhees in this one. So she was excited to be in that role, and we were excited to have her. And now we're funding for Killer Pizza. It's featuring Tom Glynn. Tom Glynn was Kringle from the Creep Show TV series.
Yeah.
And then we have Walter Phelan, who we talked about, was in House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects and all those movies. And then we have Elle Burke. Elle Burke was, if you've ever seen The Wedding Singer at the end of the movie, they're on the airplane and he goes, "Nobody talks to Billy that way." He's in the movie.
Might have done long time
ago. He was actually a wrestler. He was in the WWF like in the 80s, and he wrestled Andre the Giant and the Road Warriors and a bunch of other classic wrestlers. And he's famous for being Punchy the Clown in the Killjoy franchise. And he's been in like Eminem music videos and Cardi B and Toby Keith and all kinds of people. So
I got to ask.
Yeah, he's on Cardi B's newest album cover right now, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
So those are the projects that we're working on. You know, Friday the 13th is just a straight up kind of slasher film. What you would expect from Friday the 13th. And then Killer Pizza is a horror comedy. They're both full length feature films. We just self distribute those, and we have Indiegogo campaigns for anyone watching that might want to get involved or find out how they can get involved. We have
you send me links, I'll put them on the page, and I'll try and get people involved with you. I've got 3 massive pages I can put them on anywhere with lots of people on, so I'll do that for you. I wanted to ask, I'm curious, is it really expensive to make a film?
Yeah,
not like all these blockbusters where you see like Avatar, for example. But is it really expensive to make a slasher movie, probably the Jason film?
Yeah, it can be. It just depends on how much you. I mean, it's like, you know, is the car expensive? You know, it can't. You know, it can't. I mean, you could probably get a car for $1,000, but then you could get a car for $500,000. So it just depends on how much you want to put into it and what you want to get out of it. I mean, if you really want to make it, yeah, exactly. So we are trying to make it as cinematic and as good as it can be for, you know, the micro budget that we have. But I mean, you're looking at the cost of equipment. Everybody does things differently. So it's like, you know, you could be spending money on equipment, locations, insurance, feeding the cast, costumes, props. I mean, it seems like it keeps going and going, and then you think you have everything, and then, oh, you need another camera, so you need a whole second rig, and then you need maybe a second crew to go film scenes in one area while the first crew's filming scenes in a different area, and then it just keeps going and going and going. So you need a hair person, a makeup person.
When you obviously you get you make your script, how do you get from a script to locations to actual scenes? I mean, it's easy being on paper, but you know it's not as easy transferring those words into. How do you? I know you have location scouts and stuff like that, but how would you come up with a certain location? For example, I was about to say Jason then and Bleeding Crystal Lake. How do you come up with stuff like that? I mean, as a producer, where do you start with things like that?
Well, I mean, it was pretty obvious that if we were making Friday the 13th, we would need a campground. So okay, there's one location, we need a campground. Then in the script, there was actually a warehouse scene. So I was thinking campground, warehouse, and then there was a scene at a house, at somebody's house. So campground, warehouse, and then house. So the warehouse, I had a guy who had access to this location, and then it kind of fell through. So I couldn't get the warehouse. The campground took us forever to find. I mean, it took months and months and months. It delayed the project by like 6 months. Everybody that we contacted. So if you film on a private property, you don't need permits for that. You just need to keep in contact with the film commission office. If you film in public, then you need permits. So we ended up finding these different campgrounds. Some were public and some others were private. So the public ones needed permits, then we needed special permission and all this other stuff. So we didn't want to have to go through all that because it would have taken more time and money. So we narrowed it down. We found some private campgrounds, reached out to them. Some of them wanted astronomical amounts of money because they think that we have this major budget that we don't have. So they wanted $10,000 per day, and then they wanted their whole staff there to watch everything that we're doing. And we just can't. We don't have $10,000 a day, and we can't do things that way. So we couldn't work with them. So we had to keep narrowing it down, and finally we found a place that works for us, where the people are reasonable and we can work with them, and they let us have like free roam of the campground and let us do whatever we want to do. So we wrote the warehouse scene into the campground, and then the scene in the house, one of the actors offered their house. They just offered us to use their house. So that was an easy one. And then there's actually a scene in a bar that I forgot about. And the actress that offered her house went and found the bar for us. Took her like a day, and she had this bar that was cheap, and we were able to go film there, and it was perfect. So it can be
£10 a day.
Yeah, it can be difficult. So I mean, it's just hit or miss. I think a lot of times what people like to do, if they can't, it's always different, is probably the right answer. But I think what a lot of people like to do is, if they know they have access to a location, they write the script around that location. So
in your experience, is it easier to get the locations and then write the script, or write the script and then get the locations?
I think it just depends. In our case, it was difficult to get those locations, or the campground at least. So I mean, that was tough. But then there are other things where I've seen, directors write, they know that they have access to a bowling alley, and so they just write a scene around a bowling alley. Or they know that they have this diner or movie theater, so they write the scene, and the guy and the girl are in the movie theater.
So how do you start writing a film? I know everyone says at the start, but how do you have these thought processes of all of a sudden start writing, and then you've got a script? How does that all work? How do you do this?
So what I did was I just put down a general idea, and then I start fleshing out the characters, and would it be cool if they did that? And then you have to figure out how to make it actually work and happen on screen. So it's one thing to say, and then they get shot in the head explodes. Okay, but then how do you make the head explode in the film? Like, how do you actually do it? So there's a lot of that where I come up with ideas, then I have to try to figure out if I can actually do it. But then another part of it is because we have the campaigns that we raise money through, we had a lot of people joining Blood Loss through the campaigns, and then I had to write custom roles for them. So then I had to keep adjusting the script to make their characters fit with the story, and it's just an ongoing thing. And we're still working on things until we actually have it down. And then once we have it down, we'll change things in post production. So when we're editing, we're still writing. So it really never ends. He's asking how you come up with the idea for the script and how you
thought
flesh it out.
process of it all.
What's the thought process?
Yeah. And basically what he was saying is, because I already had like you have the main script written and everything with all your ideas and everything like that, and you're going with what could be possible, and especially like he was saying, how you're going to execute the actual scene and make it actually happen. So then you have all of that, and then what happens is we offer those custom rules, so things are continuously changing, and it's like you have the actors being like, oh, but like, what's the script? What's the script? And you're like, oh, it's changing again. It's changing again. It's changing because you keep having people add on and everything. So it's just a continuous process, ongoing.
We're pretty much writing until it's out there for you to see it, and then
Let's talk while we were filming. I had to do several rewrites and everything while he's sitting there filming and stuff. I would have to rewrite the next scene because of unforeseen like circumstances that had happened. So it's like I was writing the scene right before we'd get to it.
Yeah, if some actor has, one actor said that her dog was sick, she couldn't make it for the day or something, so then we have to pivot and do something different. And, there's always something that's going to come up. So
it just amazes me where you guys get ideas and the thought process into a piece of paper to it being on TV. It just really does. It baffles me. On average, how long does it take, or through your experience, how long has it taken you guys personally to be able to complete a project in full?
For us, we crowdfund, so that's the big first big thing that we have to do is come up with the funding for it. So all of our funds are public. We don't have any private investors. All of the money comes from the people that are going to watch this video and then go to the campaign and donate towards the movie. So it depends on how long it takes us to raise the money, and then it could be, it really probably varies. With Blood Loss, we've been crowdfunding for just over a year. We filmed for, I think, just over 2 weeks, and then we have to go back and film for like another week. So say 3 weeks of filming, but a year and a half or 2 years before the movie's released. So then, it's crowdfunding, coming up with the money, finding locations, getting all the props, costumes together, rehearsing with the actors, getting on set, doing multiple takes, getting the first bit of footage, then funding for the second part of the movie, going back, filming that stuff, then editing the film. Then, we still have, what I was going to tell you too, we have remote acting roles. So for you guys that are watching that are not in America, don't want to travel here, but still want to be a part of it, you can actually film yourselves at home and then send us the footage to add to the movie. So then we have all these people that are doing that, and so then I have to edit that footage, add that to the film, add voiceover roles to the film, add the music to the film. So it's probably about 2 years, and it could be, it could be a couple friends go out and film each other with their cell phone, and one guy's Jason, he's killing the other guy, and they make an hour-long movie out of it or whatever. Could be done really cheap, and it could be done quick, but it just depends. We're trying to make it as good as it can be on a micro budget with a skeleton crew and the whole thing. So we're definitely involved with everything. We wear multiple hats. We have a lot of different jobs to do.
I have definitely got to get your links. I don't know. I bet there's a load of people around here that would love to do something like that.
Yeah.
I think Airs. Dan, we'll get a paintball gun. You stand still and I'll just shoot you. Or we'll send it off.
Okay.
There you go. Job done. There's your next scene.
Yeah, I mean, so you get full credit for that, just like any of the other actors. So you're billed the same. You're on IMDb. You're in the end credits of the film. It's just like being on set with us, except you don't have to leave your house. You don't have to pay for travel expenses. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about getting a dog sitter or You don't have to
Dan?
worry about auditioning. You don't have to have an agent or a manager, or you don't have to take acting classes. Or
Just buy it and film.
yeah, and you're off to the races. And it's the same with the producer credit. So you could get a producer credit and then put it on IMDb and then tell people that you produced the movie. And then,
Dan? Not a paintball gun. We'll get something a bit bigger. LMG maybe. Something that's going to sting. It's got to be real, man. I'll just shoot you in the leg. It's easier, isn't it?
Okay.
Done. Right, Dan, are you actually right? Obviously, you think Dan's quiet. Dan is our training medium. So basically, he tries reading people for. Obviously, he started doing this. Well, he's been training for a while now, but the last 3 months he started to pick up a lot. So he'll basically pick up on family members, past history, with you guys. So he's been staring at you, looks like he's been geeky, like proper pervy. Honestly, he's not. He's actually reading you. And I'm actually going to ask him now whether he's picked up on anything of you guys.
So Dan hasn't been talking because he's a median. So he's been reading us, and he's going to see. John's asking Dan if he picked up on anything like in our lives, family members that passed away, or any of that stuff. All right.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Go down and see what you can get.
Suppose you don't know anyone who served in the military during the Second World War?
Do you know anyone that served in the military during the Second World War?
Yeah.
She says yes. I don't.
I'm either
Do you see
getting
anyone?
mail.
Who?
Mandee. I've seen the mail.
All right.
He says he sees a male.
With you right now.
I want to say. I want to say either U.S. Air Force or U.S. Army.
He says the U.S. Air Force or the U.S. Army. She says the Army.
Apart from that, that's it at the moment.
It's not like you done. That's not like you talk. I'm trying to think of questions for you guys. I'm really stuck with it. It's just the fact of the filming side of it, and the fact that you have the script. I'm just completely baffled how you go from an idea, put it on paper, and then 2 years later it's on our TVs.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It's absolutely baffling for me. I mean, people don't understand, like in our field, the paranormal and urban exploring, how much research and stuff is actually done. People think these are done in like 5-10 minutes. They're not. I can tell you now, we spent 3 months alone. Sorry, I just got a question come up for you guys. I've spent 3 months alone just going through pictures for a video. So it's like you guys saying 2 years. People just don't understand the amount of effort you guys go through, what you actually have to do, and everything else. I mean, I would assume being a producer, you're on it 24/7. You're constantly at people because, like you said, you've got many roles. You've got public doing the videos, everything else going into your film. It must be chaotic. That's why I asked you earlier whether you had a life. But a friend of mine has just asked, is there a main genre drama horror?
Yeah, that's what we mainly focus on. I mean, we like horror films, but it's also it seems to just be the popular genre for independent filmmakers. So it's within the realm of possibility. within the realm of possibilities for us to get funding for it.
That's interesting, that question.
So let me. So Dan said that's all he had for now. John said that's unlike Dan, and then he said it's interesting that he went back to the idea of writing down the script and then it being a movie. And a couple of years later, he said it's it's an interesting thing. And then his friend asked if our main genre is horror.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then now the follow-up is, how would you decide how each character dies in a film?
That's a good question.
So for me, I came up with a handful of different death scenes, and I wanted them to all be different because I don't want you to keep seeing the same slash and kill routine. So what I did was I tried to adjust things a little bit here and there, but we have because we had so many different people joining the cast, and because sometimes when we're working on blood loss in particular, things just come up, and so I have to come up with a kill scene on the spot. So it's like, okay, if we have to keep using the machete, how can we do it a little bit differently so it's not seeing the same thing over and over again? So maybe instead of slashing one way, slashes the other way, and we get like a different effect from it. It's just trying to find little visual things that would keep you interested. Hopefully, that's the idea.
With obviously how you're deciding how you character dies, are you limited in a way to how gory it can be? Like you're 18, does it affect the rating, as in the actual film rating? Like you've got PG, you're 15, you're 18. Do you have to abide by a certain rating as such when it comes to gore?
Not with blood loss because it's we don't own the IP to it, so it's like it's a fan film. So it's a high, we hope it's considered to be a higher end fan film, but it's still just something that we can't monetize. But we also don't have to kind of like play by those rules, so we can put a bunch of blood in the movie and not have to worry about it. They're just like, personal things that we might not want to do in the film. Some directors will go for it, others kind of like have a limit. So I think each person's different. I think if we get to a certain point with the gore, just depending on the context, it might turn the viewers off. I think like even the hardcore fans know.
No, you can never have enough blood.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's a lot of blood loss. They were asking about the kills. How do we come up with the kills? And do we have to worry about like ratings with the movies?
The ratings? Well, the ratings kind of have been a concern for me because you have to be careful what you post up on Indiegogo for ratings. But I figure we can worry about that some other time. With my film, when I was writing the script, my kills were based off of revenge because it's a pizza shop owner who gets murdered, and he comes back as a pizza, and he has his delivery boy help him. So those kills are based off of the revenge and what you would think would happen to the person that did certain things to them.
That says, I want to watch that pizza film because it reminds me there's a British one that was done, and it was based on a doner kebab shop owner, and he was killed, the owner, and his son took over the shop, and he went out and killed all the people that were involved, chopped them up into meat, and sold it as kebab meat to like people out there, and he got away with it all. But it seems, that's wicked. Oh, I've got to watch that.
What movie was that?
I will have to look it up for you,
Oh.
but it's absolutely awesome, that film. Mad has just put, do you have a signature kill scene more than others, and what do you think about the movie Brightburn? Is Brightburn that film with Will Smith and the alien police thing?
Do I have a signature kill scene? There's one kill scene that I like more than the others, and it's honestly not very graphic, but I think just the viewers will hopefully imagine it being more graphic than it actually is. You just hear like this girl kind of screaming a lot in the background and stuff. But that's pretty much the one that comes to mind. I don't know if I should.
Wouldn't a signature kill scene be something that you use in multiple films? So
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's what he meant or not. In all the films that we've been attached to, all the kind of the deaths have been different. You know, I mean, the Sawyer massacre, he's going around with the chainsaw versus Jason, who's going around with the machete, but there's no like repetitive uh, kill scene.
I think like with Blood Loss, Anthony tried really hard to come up with kills that haven't been done before, like something that he didn't see Jason do before. So that's something that he focused on.
I tried. I feel like he's done a lot of kill scenes.
And like you said, it's hard because it's a machete as well. I mean, how many
How many different
kill scenes can you do with a machete? Like you said, you like change hands or you throw it up in the air or something, turn around and sticks it in the head or something. How many, there's not that many combinations you can do. So
we tried
it must be like really hard.
Yeah, we tried to the viewers, I think, expect them to have the machete or something like it to go around slashing people. So we tried to get a decent amount of that stuff in there, but also take the machete away and then have them do kills without the machete. And then
I want to see it with a hockey stick would be ace.
and then
take the top of the head off with a hockey stick.
Yeah. So he asked about Brightburn too. I just didn't want to leave him hanging on that. What did you think about the movie Brightburn?
Brightburn?
Yeah. I think it's the one with Will Smith as a police officer and he works with an alien. I'm not sure, but I think that's the film. I've seen that and it's really weird.
Well, I know it's kind of like a darker type Superman type storyline and everything. I thought the movie could be a little better with how they told the story, especially with the ending. I didn't like the ending too much for it.
I know I watched it, but I don't remember a lot about it. I do remember the alien guy, but I don't remember the full story, honestly. And I think we've been asked about it before.
Superman.
Yeah.
You were talking about it on the live a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
DC comic.
Okay, yeah.
So it reminds me of like 40,000 Warhammer. I can't think what the film's called.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2 hours long. The big guys, green guys. Can't remember what it reminds me of that cross with something else. It's just weird. I just don't understand how you can do something like that. For me, I think the film itself was quite racial. They kept touching on race a lot for me. How people were treated. It wasn't for me an action film or a horror film. I think they were trying to make a statement somewhere with the whole film itself. He's put now because I'm reading what he's doing at the same time.
Oh, okay. It's the evil Superman.
No, I haven't seen that.
Where he has an evil force telling him he has to kill all humanity. I saw it when it first came out. It's just not fresh enough, and I don't remember, honestly. I know I saw it when it came out, but I don't know.
That's when I seen it. So, but yeah, it's the evil Superman, the darker.
We did an interview about DC stuff and superheroes like 2 years ago, and somebody asked me about it, but I don't.
I'm not very DC at all.
When you were doing it.
What's that?
I'm not very DC or Marvel at all. If I'm honest.
Okay.
I'm definitely more horror. I like the twisted stuff. I like to be able to think. It's like, have you ever seen the film Orphan?
Orphan? Yeah. Have you seen
that? For me,
yeah,
that for me is an amazing film. The first time you watch that, you're thinking that she's a little girl, and it's the twist at the end that gets you so bad.
Have you seen there's a documentary with the girl that's like that? It just can't work.
Yeah, she's is it Russian or Bulgarian?
Yeah.
Yes, I can't remember her name. But yes, it's based on a true story.
Yeah.
And when I saw it, I've actually seen a picture of the woman. I'm like, She was 35. She
Yeah.
looked no older than 10. But apparently that's not the only story that's not the only one that's happened.
Mm.
There's actually more recorded cases of that. I was completely taken away by that film because, you start getting into it and you're like, well, where's the killer coming from? What's going to happen? You saw what she was doing, but you thought she was a child doing it. And then all of a sudden you get to the end and you flip it and you're like, no, I've got to watch it again now.
Yeah.
It was the same for me with Shrooms.
With what movie?
When I watched Shrooms, mushroom film, based in Ireland.
Oh, I don't think a movie
Oh,
I haven't.
that's
seen it.
another head messer. I've got quite a few actually. Like I said, I watch all of these, but they make you think,
Yeah.
and then bang, it's like I'll see if I can remember it. It is The House of Bones. You ever heard of that one?
The House That Burns.
No, House of Bones.
House of what?
Bones.
Oh, House of Bones.
I haven't seen the House of Bones.
No, I don't think I've
Have
seen
you
it.
not? Oh, that's a good one.
That's a
Proper horror. That's well messed up. That's more of a paranormal thing as such. But you've got that. But yeah, if you guys were given unlimited money anywhere in the world to film, and you could film anything you want, what would it be? And why?
If we had unlimited money and could film anywhere in the world, what would we film and why? I'd probably just film something in Florida because I just like Florida. It's just it's warm. I'm in New York. I've always been here, so I'm pretty sick of the snow and just the area in general. So
Yeah, I can't travel because of health issues. So if
Yes,
I'm
I'm saying.
driving, or unless I take a boat somewhere, that would take a million years. But I would like to film in other countries. So
Hmm.
there's several stories that I could come up with, especially like for I think like the scariest ones, like when you travel like to foreign countries, especially I don't know, I keep thinking like Russia or something. People keep like in that
Isolated.
movies and everything.
Russia's isolated, isn't it? So I suppose that would be perfect.
He said Russia's isolated, so that would be perfect.
I mean, for me, I think I would look around Japan, knowing that it's 92% haunted.
So
You've got your stage already. And then I'd look around maybe Suicide Forest way, that way. Or into, I mean, you've got, what's the name doing? I've got to remember, not The Ring, the other one. Oh, she's in the house. She comes down through the house on the stairs. Not The Ring, the other one.
Ring, The Grudge.
I hate them films. And it's only because of the way they come downstairs and out of the well. But yeah, that house is supposed to be real.
Oh, okay.
The history of the house is real.
He said he would film in Japan because there's a lot of haunted areas.
oh, I love Japan. Yeah.
And then
Yeah, there you go.
Everything.
he's talking about The Grudge, where the character comes down the stairs. He said that house is supposed to be a real house.
Yeah.
Oh no, no! It's how can you get those effects onto it? Oh, no.
She said
don't.
she just said without hearing you. She said she would film in the Suicide Forest.
I've got to ask you, Mandee, right? Why would you film Suicide Forest?
He said he has to ask you why you would film there.
Because I'd be scared to death to do it, so I think that would make it better.
See, I think if you were to make a horror movie like you were saying then about Suicide Forest, you have everything there. All you would need is your actors. It's already got real life dead bodies from suicide victims. You've got disgruntled spirits. which are very dangerous. Apparently, they are known to attack. You've got everything for a movie. The only problem is we can't film there. That is my dream location: is to go to Suicide Forest. I tell everyone it, and it's. I think it'd be a brilliant horror movie. It's real life. Like when you guys do your slasher films, how do you try and make it as real as possible? We all know it's acting and entertainment, but how can you try and take it that next step further to actually try and make it look like it's actually real?
The Suicide Forest is his dream location. That's where he'd want to film, and so he tells everybody that. And he's asking about when we film movies, how do we make it seem real? And I think maybe the best answer for me would be that we try to remove a lot of content that seems like it's a little bit over the top, or it might be, might have heard of like overacting. So I try to get rid of a lot of that stuff to make the characters seem a little more real.
I know it sounds odd, but can an actor actually overact a scene?
Can an actor overact a scene? I think so, because when the way it comes off, and you don't always catch it in person because it just translates differently. But when you're watching it, when you're editing the footage, it seems like it's a little bit. When you were filming it, you thought it was awesome. Then when you go back and rewatch it, it's either over the top or there's not enough there. So like what I was saying before, when people are killing, they're afraid of hurting each other, and so you tell them to do more, and then sometimes it's still not enough. So when you go back and watch, it doesn't look like they're actually being hurt, and so it could be underacting sometimes, I guess. Underacting, overacting. I think there's a sweet spot, so we just try to find that sweet spot, and that's why I like doing multiple takes too, because I can kind of grab the one that I think is best out of it. And
I like this. That's just funny.
I would love to see an Edward Scissorhands movie. That's Nightmare on Elm Street.
See, do you know what? I have to be honest. I was petrified of Freddy as a child. My father used to watch me and used to get me and my little sister at the age of 4 and 5 watching Freddy Krueger. And you know where he comes out the TV bit? I think it's number 2, and he pulls the girl through the TV. I hated Freddy Krueger, and I never watched him ever since. But yeah, I'll watch anything now. I'm not bothered. But how would Edward Scissorhands compare to Freddy Krueger? That's a bit light, isn't it? I mean, it's more of a love story.
Well, Freddy would win that battle. Well, they both have their strengths and weaknesses, because Freddy, the whole thing with him is that you can't get away from him. So like no matter what happens, he can get you. But the thing with Edward Scissorhands, I suppose, if you're willing to, accept that he has finger hands or knives for fingers, he would be more based in reality. So I guess people might be going with the idea that it could happen to them. Yeah, who would win, Edward Scissorhands or Freddy Krueger?
I got a better question to ask now.
She said nobody would win because it wouldn't be possible because Edward Scissorhands doesn't sleep.
All right, I got a better question. Freddy or Jason?
Freddy or Jason? Well, they did Freddy versus Jason, and neither one.
Yeah, I thought that was a bit over the top.
Yeah,
personally. I mean, the bit with his mother was good.
Yeah. Who would win, Freddy or Jason? We're making the Jason movie, so we can't say Freddy.
Of course you can.
They pulled him out of the dream world.
She said Jason won. I always thought Freddy would win easily. I think they just had to make a movie out of it.
It's the fact that Freddy can get into your mind, and he can get you while you're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
Jason's more physical, isn't he?
Right.
But to try and put them both together, I think the film for me was a flop, because like you both said, you can't really compare them.
Right.
You know, so I don't. I just don't understand why they even tried that. I mean, that's like bringing Hills Have Eyes versus Wrong Turn. You know, you can't put two big characters in the one film. It just doesn't work. I
Yeah.
don't feel. I think they killed it off from the start, and unfortunately, I haven't seen many Freddy films since. But I would assume that the Freddy franchise at the minute is quite well. It's taken a bit of a hit after that. But obviously, Jason's on, so you're still making them.
Well, I mean, they've both been in limbo since the early 2010s. The Freddy remake was 2010, and the Friday one was 2009. So
What made you guys decide to do a Jason film?
some different things. I'm actually friends with somebody that also makes slasher films, and
All right.
he makes the Halloween Inferno fan films, which are big like Halloween fan films. And he and then we were attached to the Sawyer Massacre, which is
Yeah.
Leatherface. So we were kind of running out of options, and we're kind of down. We felt like we were kind of down to if we're doing a slasher fan film. You know, we got Jason and Freddy are kind of like the big ones, or we could do like Child's Play or Hellraiser or something. But it just kind of, for me, it just landed on Friday. It could have been one of the other ones, but I just thought that we could maybe pull that off. So
I got asked. You just mentioned about the Sawyer massacre.
yeah.
I got asked, what is that based on? Because I know there was the Sawyer cannibals in Scotland,
Mm.
and that's based on a true story. And that was a massacre as well. They used to take women via taxi, and they used to take them into a cave. And I'm just wondering whether that was the actual film, or whether the film you've done is based on another massacre.
Well, it's a fan film that's a prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, there's a
Um,
lot of them.
yeah, well, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is based on a real life serial killer from here named Ed Gein. So he had some kind of weird relationship with his mom, and he dug up bodies and stuff like that. So that's kind of what it was loosely based off of.
That's
Very
not the one
loosely.
that killed his mum, is it, Ed Gein?
Did Ed Gein didn't kill his mom, right? She, I don't think so.
No.
She died, and then I think they had a
He was just
close
like
relationship. What
people needing him.
he would dig up bodies and make furniture out of their skin and make lamps.
Yeah,
And,
yeah, yeah. Ah, yeah, I know the one.
yeah.
Yeah. I know the one now. The horror films that come across of Ed Gein, they portray him as like a patisserie owner, where he makes his own food.
Um,
In some of the slashes I've seen.
and Texas Chainsaw, the sequels, they kind of allude to that, where they have a restaurant where they sell the meat or something along those lines.
Yeah, I just remembered then when you said
Yeah.
that. The one I was thinking is the big 6'8" giant. Can't think what he's called. Used to be friends with the police. He got handed himself in. That's what I was thinking of.
Hmm.
Right, guys. I'd like to thank Anthony and Mandy for coming on. Guys, it's been a pleasure. It really has having you on it. I have been super stoked to talk to you guys. I really have.
Yeah.
I'd like to have you on later in the year. Hopefully, we'll find out more about whether whether the film's nearly done, or where we are with it all. Send me the links. I'll get them put up on all three sites, including YouTube and TikTok. So we'll get them all put up for you, and we'll try and see if we can get some funds raised for you guys, get the film finished. And let me know about how everyone else can get involved. You know, when you said about doing their own little videos and that.
Mhm.
Other than that, guys, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks so much. I'd like to come back with some of the cast members. We can
Yes.
play the trailer, and we'll give you some like exclusive behind the scenes photos and things. That way, it's just unique to your channel and for
Wow.
the viewers that are subscribed to you guys. So yeah, I'd like to make a thing out of it. We'll promote it ahead of time. We'll get some of the actors, hopefully get a couple of the more well known actors on with us. And then that would be, you know, just like a special time for us to hang out.
That'd be awesome. I'm already thinking now. I'm drooling a bit. Thank you so
thank you
much.
so much. Yeah. Thank you for having
It's
us on.
been an absolute blast talking to you both. It
All
really
right.
has.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Right, guys, I'm going to end the show tomorrow. We're supposed to have someone on. I couldn't tell you. As obviously, as you all well know, this is number 7 out of 79 interviews in a row, which is killing me. I need a break. But we got to listen. We love having people on. And like I said, Mandy and Anthony, this is our first ever film producers we've had on the podcast. And the person that actually suggested you guys, if I can remember his name, I'll find out later. You know, I got to thank him because this means so much to us as a small podcast who's just started this year. To have people like yourselves on, talk to you about your projects and everything else. But you know, we try to raise that it's not just about our field. You know, you've got the horror scene, you've got films that are being made on all our stuff that we have as well. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. Really, thank you.
Yeah. If you want more producers on, just let me know. I'll talk to you after, and then I'll help you get more guests on, and that way the viewers have, you know, some more stuff like this to look forward to.
Where do we sign up?
we'll send you we'll send you a private message, and I'll get some people
Man,
in contact with you. But
my head's about to explode.
yeah, we
For
appreciate
real.
everything. You know, we look forward to talking to you guys again, and thank you so much for having us on.
No, thank you.
Viewers, Friday the 13th, Blood Loss and Killer Pizza
Yeah,
in
come on,
demand on
guys.
Indiegogo. Donate today. It helps us get the films made. Without you guys, it wouldn't be possible. Thanks so much to John and Daniel for hanging out with us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll see you.